Hey, what's up, everybody? How y'all doing? Today's topic, we're going to be talking about moderation or abstinence in addiction recovery after this.
Welcome to the 4 Mics, 13 Teeth, 1 Ankle Monitor podcast, a podcast about addiction recovery made by addicts for anyone battling addiction.
Hey, welcome back. I'm Gary.
Hi, guys. I'm Amanda.
And today, like I said, we're talking about moderation management or abstinence in addiction recovery. This is a very, very controversial. There's a lot of controversy about these two ways of getting clean right here.
It's a fine line between the two.
Yes. So first, moderation. What is the? Do you have the definition of moderation?
It's controlled use.
Controlled use.
Yeah.
That controlled me. Anytime I use,
there's no such thing as controlled use
right.
when it comes to being an addict. I actually wrote something down. I thought it was hilarious. And it was like, what did it say? It says, if we as addicts were able to control our usage, then we would not be addicts.
Right.
We wouldn't even have that terminology.
We thought we was in control of it anyway. And, really, if you're trying to get clean in moderation, if you're on drugs or alcohol, anything hard, opioids, some kind of pain pill, abstinence is the only way.
It really
is. It's the
is.
way to go.
It really is.
It's moderation is not something, you don't want to try to tempt yourself because you're going to fall back.
You can't. In addiction, because when you're an addict for so long, that prolonged use of drugs, it
rewires your brain.
It does.
Your thinking,
but the aspects that it rewires is your judgment, your memory, your ability to make informed decisions. So abstinence is the only logical answer because, that one use is obviously it's going to affect your informed decision-making skills. Right. So even before that first use, if you're like, but I'm just going to do it once. Once you do it once, all that goes out the window because
I'm only
you are no longer able to make informed decisions because you're high or drunk or something.
Well, we know for a fact that it takes up to about a year.
Yeah.
To get your thinking back right.
For your brain to kind of recover from the usage.
Learn how to live your life. The right way, it takes up to about a year.
If not longer. I know some people that have permanent damage from drug abuse. Some people, they will never be right again.
Right.
They will, because it has caused permanent damage to their brains and their emotions. And, we've talked about it before. Physically, there's physical damage from drug use.
Right.
Well, if it's going to cause physical damage, goodness gracious, to your body, then obviously it's going to cause physical damage to your brain, to, all aspects. And if you try to moderate it, how many times have we said, oh, I'm in control. I'm in control.
Yeah, no, but then we have to,
well, you're in denial.
Is what you are. Right. And, some people think that, I call it rehab moderation.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it takes up to 12 months, a year to get your thinking back right. If you're only going to a 30-day program, a 60-day program, even a 6-month program, it's not going to work. Everybody I've talked to.
Not when you have 20 years under your belt.
When I've talked to people that have been to multiple rehabs, and start asking them, well, what program did you go to? Where did you go to? And none of them were more than 6 months.
Yeah.
But when they finally got right and recovered from their addiction, they actually went through a 12-step, 12-year, a 12-month program, or more, 12 to 18 months.
Well, my thing is, though, why would you choose a temporary rehab when you were long-term addiction? You were in addiction for the long run. Why are you only
going to fix a 20-year problem in a 30-day program?
No.
I'm sorry, that's not going to work.
No. You might be sober for that 30 days, but you're dying to get out. You're dying to go home and get back, have your free will back. And what's the first thing you do? Go find somebody who's going to give you what you need to get high or drink. That's the first thing you're going to do.
There's some things, I'm not totally against moderation. Now, if you're on any type of hard drugs, marijuana, alcohol, any kind of drugs, opioids, pain pills, this, that, and the other, abstinence is the only way to go.
Yeah, it's not going to work. Don't try to moderate
now,
your usage.
You can be moderate. I see the only way, if you got a food addiction, come on, it's saying you can't be abstinent from food. You got to, set some standards in your life.
I will not be abstinent from food. What you talking about?
It's not going to work. Then
they're going to start, got a bond like this, okay?
Right. But and that's the thing, and even in some other areas, gambling would be something you could do in moderation.
Yeah,
on the internet, if you're addicted to your phone, what I'm saying, you're addicted to Facebook, you're addicted to TikTok, this, that, and other. But you do have to do it in moderation. But you have to set standards or set yourself a time limit with an alarm to let you know, hey, that's all you can do.
Yeah, that's all you get. But with moderation, it can be positive. It can have positive effects because for so long we've lived in addiction and we never really learned how to moderate our life, like how to live life in moderation, just normal things, just in normal everyday life. But when it comes to being, it can teach us, to positive life skills. It can. Right. But when it comes to being hardcore drug addict, hardcore alcoholic.
As an addict, in my addiction, there was no moderation. I could have, justified myself, I deserve to smoke one on Friday night. I got Saturday and Sunday to sober up before I go back to work. But the thing is, what if you have that really bad week? That one beer is going to turn into a 6-pack.
Well,
but the thing is, you see yourself, you're still not thinking right.
No.
If you're using what, your drug of choice is.
No, because it impairs your way of thinking.
Right,
it literally impairs those parts of your brain.
You trick yourself into thinking that I can handle it because I handled that one last weekend. I can handle 2 this weekend. Yeah. And then it's going to end up being every day.
But it's a very fine line. Abstinence and moderation, the difference between the two, it's a bold line. It's right there. It's a very strict line. And we talked about when it comes to moderation management, who's in charge of how much is
how much is enough? Well, what's moderate?
What's moderate?
Who's to say that
one use?
Yeah,
two
who's
use,
to say is one
3
beer?
Use? That line, if you're the one in charge of, being the one, help me, to choose how much it is okay and acceptable as far as moderation goes. If you're in charge of that line is going to continuously move.
It's like some people have to go to
stay the same.
That have drug problems, and they have to go to a pain management clinic or something like that. They can only get a certain amount of pills this day. A certain amount of they get their doses for the week.
Yeah.
On Monday, through Friday, and they get 1 dose for every morning.
But
but the thing is, even in moderation, if you have a bad day and you think something else needs to happen, you're going to go find something else to do.
You're still in charge of
because I didn't use all my medicine.
You're still in charge of it, and
somebody else be in charge of it.
You cannot be in control of it. I mean, I'm sorry, and that may step on some toes. Some people may not like it, but if you're in charge of how much usage you can do, it's not going to end well. It's not. No, you're not going to be able to control it. You're going to eventually, eventually you will lose control. Right. I mean, it's guaranteed. You're going to.
You're going to be. They're going to top you out on your medicine, and then when you go back in for your doctor's appointment, and they're like, "Hey, we need to start kicking your dose back down just a little bit."
Which I don't feel like that should be.
I'm actually talking about the methadone clinics right here. Yeah. And this is going to touch a little bit, on y'all, but and I understand, the when you come off of stuff, your withdrawal. Yeah, when you're withdrawing, sometimes coming completely off of it would do nothing. You can get sick and it can be dangerous.
And it can, because it can throw your body into shock.
But the thing is, you have to have somebody there to hold you accountable. You have to have a sponsor to talk to, somebody that might even hold your medicine for you.
Yeah.
And come, but these have
somebody
to be
responsible and somebody who actually wants you to recover needs to be in charge of that.
Right.
Because we as addicts, we cannot control it.
Right.
We can't. We cannot control our usage. We're gonna find a way, a reason to justify more use.
Right.
We just will. Me personally, I know I will. I've said it many times. I can't drink just 1 bottle of wine, because I need another one.
Right. It's like, it makes me think of, when I first come into recovery, before I found Celebrate Recovery.
Yeah.
I was going to, I was court-ordered to have self-help meetings.
Yeah.
And the only meeting I knew that I could get to was AAs. Well, it started off with NAs.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, golly, this is not working because all they talk about is meth and cocaine.
Yeah.
You know, and heroin and shooting up and this, that, and that. I'm like, I'm not trying to come in here and talk.
Well, some people can talk about stuff like that. Me
personally, it was triggering me, and I was like leaving. I was leaving with my mouth watering.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So I went upstairs and started going to an AA. I was like, because I'm not an alcoholic, right? Because it's never been my problem. Well, as I started working the steps in AA, I realized I am an alcoholic.
Yeah.
I consider myself an alcoholic because if I start drinking, I'm gonna head right back to where I was going.
Yeah, it's gonna lead you right back to what you really want to do.
So I started saying, okay, well, I'm an alcoholic. You know, I can't handle drinking either. And so I continue working the steps, and it come up to you got to have a sponsor. You got to have a sponsor. Get you a sponsor. The best thing you can do is get you a sponsor. Mm-hmm. You know, and so I started searching for a sponsor in the AAs, and the first one that I started talking to, he was like, "What kind of management plan you on?" I was like, "What do you mean management plan?"
Yeah.
He's like, well, I'm on a marijuana management. I was like, what you mean you're on a marijuana management plan? He's like, no, he said, but at least I'm not drinking. I was like, yeah, you're not sponsored for me.
That's substitution at its finest.
And we want to encourage you to get help, but you have to figure out what works for you.
Yeah, it has to be.
That right there was not going to work for me because, for me at the beginning, I was having to take drug tests anyway, so that management problem was not going to work for me. But at least they weren't drinking.
Yeah.
That to me, that's just justifying using. You know, you're still having to have some kind of substance to get through the day. No.
Yeah. But
you're not trying to better yourself.
No, and all you're doing is substituting one thing for another thing. And don't get me wrong, sometimes substituting, it is a good thing. Like, for example, they say, to stop smoking cigarettes, to start drinking water. And every time you want a cigarette, because it's that hand-to-mouth motion, then drink a little bit of water. That's an example of a good substitution. But if you're substituting crack for meth, well, at least I'm not doing what I was doing.
Right.
You still strung out. Like, that's just what it is. But to me, a lot of times that's what moderation is, and you see it all the time in drug court programs. They'll try to get by with, they're not doing the same thing what they were doing, but now they're doing something else that don't show up on the test, and then they get hooked to that. I mean, we've seen it personally, through some friends, and that messed their life up even worse than, the other stuff did.
Right. So, and the thing is, we're not dead set against moderation.
No, it works, but abstinence is the better thing.
Abstinence is the better thing. It is the, in a lot of cases, there's a higher rate of recovery rate
in abstinence because we can't handle it.
Abstinence cuts out all the possible relapse or lapse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Well,
it takes all those.
To me, moderation is a lapse.
Yeah.
I can use it one time. That's a lapse.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. So, and then then you're going to end up relapsing.
Yeah.
And you're going to be stuck in it again.
Yeah, because it's a slippery slope. Like,
right.
I mean,
so abstinence is the way to go.
You're riding the line, I feel like, if you choose moderation over abstinence, because abstinence, it takes all the risks of relapsing away. It takes away the people, places, and things. You have to change all those things. Yeah. Well, with moderation, you might justify, I can still go hang out with my friends at the crack house. I just won't do it, but I can still go hang out with them. No, eventually you will. No, but in abstinence, it takes all that away. But the only thing with abstinence, though, is it is hard.
It's hard, but it's very worth it.
It is worth it if you have the right... what is it? Help me. As long as you have to have a support group in abstinence. You have to have sponsors, accountability partners. Right. You've got to, stay in some kind of group that's going to help you get through it because it is not easy.
In abstinence, you actually start to find out who you really are.
Yeah.
You're not going to find yourself if you're, lapsing or in moderation. Because you're not going to try to... my lifestyle's not going to change if I'm in moderation, but in abstinence, everything
changes. The whole lifestyle.
Had to change, right.
Yeah. And I feel like that's there's a reason why abstinence is the number one way that, most recovery groups, that they choose a abstinence-based program because it has proven more
More recovered addicts.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. The word just.
But and then if your mental health, you're crazy, you nuts, and you're an addict, abstinence is the only way. You have to get your mental health in check.
Yeah, and moderation can feed into that. Right. It can make your mental health even more strained because you're constantly thinking, well, is this too much, or was that too much, or is this okay, is that okay, can I go here, can I not go here? Right. With abstinence, it takes all those choices away. No, you can't. Not kind of.
It's not happening.
There is no question on where that line is. If you choose abstinence, like it's a very clear line. You can't cross this line. If you cross this line, you're gonna fall.
Right. In moderation, you're not gonna set any long-term goals because you're not even thinking about anything long-term. You might be thinking about the long week. Wait until that weekend to use.
That's what I was gonna say. I feel like if you're using in moderation, that's only
all
thing you're thinking about.
Is when am I gonna get to use that one time?
When am I gonna get to do it again? Right, when am I gonna get to do it again?
Right. That's just me personally. That's how I feel about
I agree. I think that's.
So
that's
do nothing in moderation. But I mean, I've never done anything in moderation in my life. So why would I try even to?
No, it's go big or go home.
Right.
We either all for it or we ain't doing it.
Look, the thing is, moderation, you're sitting on the fence.
Yeah.
Moderation is sitting on the fence. You're still dangling that foot over here. Oh, I got a cramp. Sorry.
You can't be a halfway drug addict.
Oh, I got a cramp sitting on the fence, and then you gonna fall off. But I for real got a cramp. I'm sorry. It's been a long day at work. Today would be one of them 2 beer days. I'm saying.
Yeah. But
it like for real though. That's why I can't use anything in moderation. No. I have to be abstinent from everything.
Yeah, because you know where it's going to lead you.
Right. And I know what I like to do, and one thing is going to lead to another. There's no, swapping it out. Mm-mm. So, moderation and abstinence. I think we might have stepped on some toes today, but you know what?
Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. I love you. Check out these other videos, and if you subscribe to us, you watch our videos, comment. Y'all talk to us, like us, love us, or hate us.
We'll comment back.
I don't care what you think about me.
We'll still talk to you,
in moderation. But we love you.